Hi everyone, and thanks for watching Adobe Live. This is the third day of this UX design series, and we will be live for 2 hours with Jackie. Hi Jackie.
What's up?
Good to see you again. If you missed the first episode, you can watch the replays on the Creative Code YouTube channel, but we are designing an app called Kipup, which is actually a real life app that Jackie designed, and she's adding new features in Adobe XD, and oh yeah, today we will do some
live user testing.
Live user testing, yeah. I forgot about this. This would be interesting.
Yeah, now you really know if the designs are working or not.
Yeah. So we will invite you to watch the replays, but we'll recap everything. Thanks for watching. Yeah, we see the people in the chat.
Germany,
we see Yusuf, Fazer is back.
Nice.
Mariam, thanks for watching. I see also Shoaib, okay, and Yizu, I think
she won yesterday.
Yeah,
she won yesterday.
Won something with us. That's awesome. Today we also challenge them, like every day. So the theme of today is actually quite fun, and they have done a very good job so far. We want them to design a trivia game experience, So using Adobe XD, could be trivia about anything, so be creative. You have all the rules in the challenge tab on behance.net/live. Next to the chat and info tab, challenge tab, check the rules, and you have 90 minutes in this show to submit your entry that we will review during the show. It's maybe you can get a chance to win a Creative Code subscription. And we will also do some random giveaways. These XD socks, exclusive socks that you can only find on the Adobe Live show, and the XD notebook. We will give them away to someone active in the chat. So please ask questions to Jackie, say hi, let us know what you're doing, where you're from, to get a chance to win. Okay.
Michael looks good in a black shirt.
Oh, thanks. Thanks, Roy. Thanks for the feedback. Okay, Jackie, maybe we can switch to your screen, and you can recap, the experience with Kipup.
Yeah, cool. So here's where we sort of landed yesterday. We finished out this prototype here where a user comes in and registers for this competition. So you can see all the screens here. I'm going through it pretty quick. And that's because I actually iterated on them just yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
Couldn't let it go. So I worked on it yesterday, so I'll show you what that looks like.
Okay.
So jumping over here.
Oh, yeah.
We have
version
the
B.
new screens. Yep. So some things that have changed besides the visuals. Obviously, I was thinking more about, we had this experience where you would hit next and you would go to the next page where you would select an event, which works really well if it's sort of like a one-time setup.
Okay.
But then looking a little bit further, I was thinking about if a user comes back to make changes, maybe we could do it in a way, or redesign it in the way that those views would be the same. So instead of having a next button and having like a two-step process, I was thinking, why don't we keep all the steps on one page, and this event button would take you to that familiar events page.
And then you come back.
And then you go back.
Oh, yeah.
So that's actually very similar to what we were looking at the other day in Swarm.
Interesting.
Where you click a button to say like, yes, I want to add some friends to my check-in, and then you do this like search and filter add experience, and then you say, yep, I'm done, and you're taken back to that check-in, just the original experience. So really similar to that, and I figured if, let's say, a competitor, logs back in to see, oh, what were the events that I registered for? Let me just double check. Okay. We can reuse those views, and you can view not only your basic information, like
also
my name, my
events.
email, but also the events on one page. And then in the future, if there's other information we want to include on that page, like I mentioned something called non-do codes, which are, now I've opened a can of worms, but it's like a complicated setup where you indicate your moves. We can also keep those on the same page. So
awesome.
That's where we sort of landed. So excited to test that today.
Yeah, it looks great. And you made a very good point also, like reminding us that to create some experiences and to find some design patterns, you also found your inspiration with existing apps.
Yes.
So we used Eventbrite to check on the web what was the experience when for users who are not signed in.
Right.
And also, you were mentioning Swarm, I think, which is a social app that you are using on the phone, and that help you because you were inspired by the fact that you had to search through a very long list of contacts. And here it's a very long list of sporting events. So that's the same pattern, and actually you improve the experience because we found something very frustrating on Swarm when you select the wrong contact and you have to search again to unselect it and search again to select the right one.
Yep, that wouldn't really work for event selection.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Cool. So.
And Omar had a question. That he wanted to ask yesterday. I think he was asking, like, do you use a floating field?
A floating field.
Yeah, for the text input, is it a floating field?
Oh, the floating label?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, so this is, the intention for these would be they would follow the material pattern where you, the placeholder text then moves up to the top as like a floating label. And then when you focus out of that text field, that would go away. It only shows when you focus into the field, like you're typing in something.
Yeah, to save time and also to follow some design guidelines. So she's using the Google material, which is documented by Google, giving some design recommendations, guidelines for designers, creating web apps and mobile apps. And if you open Adobe XD for the first time, you can get UI kits, including the one by Google, where you can get all these assets and they all respect the Google material. Although we found out yesterday that the designer grouped a lot of stuff. So don't hesitate to ungroup every time you select some elements.
The reason why I'm following material is because the app that we have built so far, so this is the setup portion of Kipup, it follows a lot of the same material patterns. So. We want to just keep things consistent. When we actually go to build the registration flow, we're going to be using, it's going to be in the same code base, right? So form fields and things like that, they'll be the same. We'll reuse those components as opposed to building entirely new components.
I see. Okay.
So a lot of these, like the concept of like this gray background with these cards and like these colors and things like that, they'll look really similar to the things we have going on over here. Cool. And I also just wanted to mention that I actually used the live view
the live
feature.
Preview?
The live preview on my phone. Yeah. So I actually have.
And you have an Android phone.
I do. I have a first-gen Pixel, so I was a little unsure if it was gonna work, but it totally. I downloaded Adobe XD. I can just show it really quick for those of you who didn't see it yesterday. You
can maybe put it under the GoPro and. We can show how it works.
You just open up the Adobe XD app on your phone. I'll put it under this GoPro. And you switch to live preview.
And you connect it to with a USB cable. Okay, so just you connect it to your computer and you do live preview.
Open an XD document on your phone.
Okay. Maybe they want to connect again. You can try to.
Yeah, let's try connecting again. Oh, there you go.
Okay. Cool. Here we go.
Sweet. So, like we showed yesterday, we use this Adobe XD app, which Michael actually plugged in his iPhone, but this also works on Android just the same, where you can preview your design. So I have this artboard actually is the one that's in focus on XD on my computer. And if I like move something around, you can see it move with it. So this is really helpful for things like spacing or text,
if you want to
font
show it
size,
again, no, they will
like
see.
That.
They will see both screens if you show it again. So you are working on this screen, and when you select an artboard,
if I move something around, you'll see it move on the phone right there.
So super useful to see. We were checking the font size. We were checking also the hit area, is the area like I need to press, is it big enough or is it confusing? Do you have enough space? So you can really design in real time with live preview, which is again an app available for free on iOS and on Android.
Cool.
And it's Mac only image, for the moment. We should ask the XD team actually if maybe Paul, we can ask if there will be live preview for Windows users too. Yeah, we should ask the XD team. Might it works with Wi-Fi too? It's a good question. I know the team has been working on it, but I'm not sure if it's available now. Yeah. Let me check.
Cool. While Michael's checking on that, I can talk about sort of what else I worked on yesterday. So in addition to tightening up some of the visual styles, and as well as redesigning the experience for this add events flow, I also went ahead and prepared a script for our user interview that we're going to do in just a little bit. So here I've laid out sort of what's the goal of the test today. So I want to test the registration with the login flow as well as non-do event selection. So today we're focusing on the simpler non-do event selection because there's a different type of event selection that requires a lot more inputs, and we can test that in the next round. And then I capture just some reminders for myself. I work with a lot of clients. I work at Pivotal Labs, we do software consulting, so it's really good just to reiterate some things, even if I know them. That way, everyone who has this document and is taking notes, which I'll actually have Michael take notes for me.
All good. Okay.
We'll have Michael take notes. So these are just good reminders for everyone in the room. And then I captured here just a quick introduction that'll say like, hey, this is what I'm working on, and kind of prep the user without giving too much information about what exactly I'm working on or like what I'm looking for. And then we'll always want to record the interview. And then getting into the questions, we'll do a little bit of what I call persona validation.
Okay.
I actually know our user today personally, so I actually know a lot of these things, but it'll be great for everyone to see what that will sort of look like. Persona validation is just a means of saying, is the user someone who would actually use the app? Because, you know, if you don't know the user, or if you're using, you know, recruiting or something like that, you want to make sure your user's someone who would actually use your prototype. Otherwise, even if they give feedback, it may be misleading, or if they don't actually find this valuable, or if they're a different type of user, let's say they're older or younger or more tech savvy, not tech savvy, that's gonna all have an effect. So you'll want to ask a couple questions just to make sure you're talking to the right person. Okay. And then moving down, I kind of broke out my questions into some sections here, so such as the information screen, login and basic info screens, the event selection, the review screen, and then the final screen. And I won't go too much in detail into exactly the questions that I'm gonna be asking, because you'll see those in action. But it's a lot of like, tell me what you're seeing here. Is that what you expected to see? What would you do next? So a lot of things around that, and I threw in a couple other questions that are, if there's a particular thing that I'm trying to dig into, such as, does the user want to be able to make changes to events? That might be something that I want to explore. So there'll be more specific questions around that. So I generally like to prepare a script like this. I think I also have run interviews where they're a lot more free-flowing or exploratory, but in this particular case, we're testing less exploratory. We know we're going to build a registration flow at this point, and it's more around, does the user understand the interactions and the flow? So it's easier to go with the script, and especially if you're testing a more consumer product across multiple users, it's good to ask questions in the same way. Okay. So you can have, good data points across the board. Cool. So I went over a lot. So yes, Michael.
I have to take notes.
Yes, today I'm going to be facilitating the interview. We're going to hop onto a conference call in just a bit. Michael, if you could take notes however you want, if you want to type, if you want to write down. So typically the way that we do things at Pivotal is that we would actually take notes on Post-its, and I was going to grab Post-its from the office, but I totally forgot. But it's okay, because the reason why we take notes on Post-its is because we use those Post-its to then synthesize our findings. So I might group users that say the same thing. I might group those Post-its together. So it's really helpful to have our notes in that format. But for today's case, since we're only going to interview one person, I think it's okay if you want to either just type, or if you want to just write stuff down, and then that we can go back and reference those notes. And also just notes for you. I'm sure you've taken notes in user interview sessions before, but we'll want to capture quotes as opposed to writing things like user didn't understand this thing, or consider changing this to that, which can be really tempting because as a designer, you might have the solution in mind immediately. But what we want to actually do instead of that is capture the actual pain or the actual thing that the user said. So then as a team, we can decide later, oh, that's what the user said. Okay, how do we solve that? And we can figure that out together as opposed to capturing a sort of more biased response from the get-go.
I will take quotes. Got it.
Great. All right, so are we ready to go? I'm gonna start the, I have to export this prototype. We'll do that. So I'm gonna hop back into XD. I haven't created the link yet, so I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Cool.
I guess you have to update the link because we have, to update the new version. To upload the new version, so you update.
Cool.
You upload your screens and then you will get the URL. Actually, if you shared it with the user yesterday, it's the same link.
Cool. I haven't shared it with him at all yet, so he hasn't seen it. Cool. And I want to click the open in full screen. Do I have to re-update it?
Yep.
Cool. The updated in full screen will have like the black background, as opposed to like the little navigation and the
Maybe you can
title.
open the link just to make sure we are
that.
doing the right thing. Yeah, here we go.
Cool. So we're about ready to go.
To scroll, it's like this.
Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. And I'll be sending an email to the user.
Yeah, so maybe we can
I'll just do that right now.
hide your screen.
Let's hide my screen so we're not looking at my email.
Your screen. Go back to the front view, for instance, to the camera. Okay.
Cool.
And I'm ready to take notes. Look.
Nice.
I'm ready.
You're ready.
Okay, maybe we can ask, like, for the people watching, who has already conducted a user interview in the chat? And was it as a user or was it as a interviewer?
Already... Sorry, what was the question?
Yeah, I want to see if they already had conducted user interviews. You know, is it something that is part of their process, or let us know.
I think I'm on the side of feeling strongly that as a designer, doing user interviews is super helpful for me.
Okay.
Cool. All right, we can switch to my screen, and here we have our user. Woohoo! Well, let's start the video so he can see us. Hey, and
hello.
This is Michael.
Hello. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Great. Cool. Can Tim, can you just say something so we make sure everyone can hear?
Hello, I'm Tim. Can you hear me?
I'm pretty sure they can. Yeah. Just do that.
Cool.
Just to make sure with you.
I'm gonna go ahead and pull up the script on my phone so we can show the screen share instead of so I won't have the interview script. So I'll just pull it up from here. Oh, this doesn't.
Want me to share my screen?
One sec. Cool. So great. So we're ready to get started. Tim, people in the chat can hear you loud and clear.
Nice green screen.
Oh yeah, it's very green. Great. So we'll just get started. Thanks for joining us today. As you know, my name's Jackie, and I'm a product designer working on a product called Kipup, and we're working on some new features. So I'll be starting off with some just general basic questions, and then we'll sort of switch gears, and I'll show you a prototype. Do you have any questions before we get started?
I do not.
Great. And before we start, I'm going to go ahead and record the session if that's all right. Cool.
Sounds good.
Great. So, awesome. Tim, if you could just start by telling us a little bit about your Wushu competition experience. Maybe how long you've been competing, things like that.
Okay. Well, I started Wushu in college, so it's been like 4.5 years, and I competed like within 3 months of starting. And I generally compete 2 to 3 times a year. And then the last competition I went to that I competed in was in July of 2017, which is the US Team Trials competition.
Awesome. Great. And how do you typically find out about competitions that are happening?
Well, the competition circuit in the US is pretty like well known because there's not that many of them.
Mm-hmm.
So generally it would be through Facebook. Like I'm Facebook friends with most people who compete competitively in Wushu in the US. So I'll see links, and that's generally where I get them from.
Gotcha.
And there are Facebook events too that are created for most of them. Yeah.
I see. So you're invited to those Facebook events.
Yes.
Gotcha. How do you typically know when registration for a competition has opened?
It's generally on the website, I think, of whatever the page that I go to for registration.
Mm-hmm. How do you typically decide if you want to or are able to participate in a competition?
I mean, the factors are if I'm ready or not, where the competition is. A lot of competitions are in California, so that's not as viable. I think those are 2 of the main factors that I would think about.
Gotcha.
Or audience, I guess, the prestige of the competition. There are some small competitions that I probably wouldn't go to, even if they're close.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And how important is cost to you for a competition?
You mean the cost of registration or total cost?
Let's say registration.
Not terribly. Yeah, although it does range pretty widely.
What does the cost typically look like?
For collegiate competitions, it typically ranges from $50 to $75. And that ranges from, that's like the base if you only do one competition, not one competition, one event.
Mm-hmm.
I typically do at least 2, so that's an added amount. So generally, collegiate competitions or ones geared towards college students will be around $50 to $75 or discounted to that amount at least.
Mm-hmm.
For adult competitions, it's generally $100 and above. I think Team Trials was something like around 200 or 300.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you typically know that registration is open by looking at a competition's website.
Yes.
And then where do you go to actually register?
On the website as well, usually.
Okay. And what sort of information do you expect to see as part of the registration?
I guess I would need the obvious information like location of competition, date, time, the events involved in the competition, the cost of the competition. Sometimes there are prerequisites for the competition, like for US Team Trials, you have to be not only a US citizen, but also a US Wushu Kung Fu Federation member. And then, for example, for collegiate competitions, like there are different levels for like say grad students or beginners, intermediates. So I guess those prerequisites as well. Gotcha.
Cool. Awesome. So we're actually going to switch gears now. We're going to switch to the prototype on your phone. So this, when you get there, the screens will look really very real, but they're actually just a series of images that are strung together. So not everything is clickable. As you're going through them, do your best to think out loud. And as if, I wasn't here or no one was watching, like if you were just doing this on your own at home.
Okay.
I'll be pausing you throughout to ask questions, so try not to be click happy and rush through the prototype. and sort of like say what you're going to click on before actually clicking on it. And we're in the very early stages of designing this, so everything you say is going to be very helpful. Cool. So I emailed you the link to the prototype if you want to do the screen share from your phone and open up that link, or just you can screen share whenever you have the prototype open.
Cool. I have it open. So, I share my screen. You see my screen?
Awesome. Yep. Great.
Cool.
So diving right in, if you could just tell me about what it is that you're seeing here.
Well, I see Justin Benedict, who is probably the most well-recognized face in Wushu in the US. I see login, which is probably the first thing I would click, because I assume you would, yeah. Wushu Collegiate 2018, hosted by Columbia University. That's helpful. Time and date, location, good. I'm gonna scroll down. Last day for registration, and that is actually very helpful because a lot of times it's kind of ambiguous when it is, or it's not as clearly shown. I like that. And then registration fee is very explicit. Cool. So I think I would click login first, so we're me.
Gotcha. What would you expect to see if you clicked login?
Probably like a typical like username, password, and then it would say like register if you're not if you don't have a previous account.
Gotcha. Cool. Looking at this page, how comfortable do you feel about the information on this page?
I think as a person who has competed before, it's all I need to know because I know what Wushu Collegiates is. And yeah, but I think maybe for beginners or people who haven't really done it before, like a description of like what Collegiates is, a blurb would be what I'd expect as well. Or generally, like this seems to me similar to like a Facebook event page. And, like I would typically see that on an event page, so that's what I expect here as well.
Mm-hmm.
Not that it's necessary. That's what I.
Gotcha. And how would you imagine that? How did you get to this page?
How do I imagine that I got to this page?
How would you think you got to this page?
I think there would probably. I think it would still be like a Facebook event page, and then there would be a link to this. Is probably how it gets to it.
Gotcha. Cool.
Like registration page here. Like here.
Gotcha. Cool. So unfortunately, you can't actually click to log in. If you scroll down to the bottom, let's just dive straight into registering.
Okay.
Cool. And tell me about what you're seeing here.
I guess this is typically what I would imagine. I know what competition I am going to, Wushu Collegiates, where it is. That's have a Kipup login, sign in. Is useful. Yeah. I think it's a little confusing. Because I think generally, like if I had an account, my basic information would already be in it. But then I'm not sure if I can just go through with registration without having to create a Kipup account.
Gotcha. So you'd expect to have to create a Kipup account as part of registration.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Looking at what does having a Kipup account mean to you?
Well, in the past, so like I've used several registration platforms for Wushu. I think one of the usually like the Collegiates one is the same platform every year. So when I sign in and log into my account and like, my school and everything is in there, and it'll update me like if I started off as a freshman, it'll update like, oh, next year you'll be a sophomore, etc. And I'm not sure because I've only done one US team trials, but I think the platform is also similar. Like it shows that you're a US citizen, that you have a US Wushu Kung Fu Federation account, etc. So I'd assume this Kipup platform would be similar. Like I would have it for multiple competitions in the years to come and use the same platform, and then so it would just be an account that holds all my information, so I don't have to type in basic information all the time every time I register.
Gotcha. What would you expect to see if you clicked sign in?
Probably what I see here, but a little expanded, like my basic information, email, affiliation, age, password, creating a password, address. I don't know if that's relevant, but things like that. Just like what you would typically see in a account.
To create a new account.
Oh yeah, I guess this is sign in instead of create new account. So I guess in terms of sign in, I would just see like a username and password.
Gotcha. Cool. Go ahead and click on that.
Click on sign in.
Yeah, go ahead and sign in. And tell me about what you're seeing here.
So the first part is pretty straightforward. I mean, obviously, if I enter my email and password, I can log in. And then, so I'm not so sure about the basic information. I guess it's like the same page that I was on originally, but the sign-in has just changed into this thing.
Gotcha. Go ahead and actually enter your information. You can't type, but you can just click on it.
Cool. Wushu Star.
Isn't that your email address?
It is.
Cool. And what would you expect to see after logging in?
I would say, I don't know if there's like a home page. I mean, if there were more Wushu events in the US, I would probably see like a home page with like upcoming events and like events now. But in this case, I would assume I would just go to like an event registration page or like a current whatever competition that I'm about to register for. Like probably similar to the original page I came
Gotcha.
through.
Cool. Go ahead and log in.
Like the one with Justin's photo.
Mm-hmm. And tell me about what you're seeing here.
Okay, it says I'm logged in, which is good. I see log out. It's good to know that I can log out. My basic information is correct. Yeah.
Is this what you expected to see or expected to happen?
No. Because I think most places, like once you log in, like it just shows like you're logged in, right? Like it'll say like on like the upper right corner is like logged in as X. I don't think I would usually go directly into my information page once I logged in.
Gotcha. Cool. Where do you think that basic information came from?
I assume I typed it in when I created the account.
Okay. And what would you expect to see if you clicked on the affiliation?
That there would be a selection of universities or Wushu schools that I could click on if I changed my affiliation.
Mm-hmm. Where do you think the affiliation that's shown here gets used?
Probably for like a collegiate competition. I think that's the only time I can think of where like what university I'm from would matter.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, sometimes like at team trials, they ask for your school, which isn't your university, but your like school, so you can like walk under the banner, or they can have like how many schools showed up or how many clubs showed up at our competition type information.
Gotcha. And do you have multiple affiliations?
Well, I think for team trials, I registered under Ome, which is the Wushu school I go to in Virginia. So I guess that would be another affiliation. So other than that, I don't think so. Just those two.
Gotcha. Cool. And what would you do next?
I mean, I'm assuming I wanted to register, so I would click Add Events.
And what would you expect to see if you click that?
A list of events. It depends on the competition. So like, if it's for team trials, everything is in non-do competition mode. So like everyone competes in the different categories, but the same skill level of category. Whereas if I'm competing at a collegiate competition or any other competition, I would see like your level. So I would probably click like beginner, intermediate, advanced, or non-do would probably be the 4 selections I would have. And then a list of all the different events that I can possibly choose from.
Gotcha.
So it could either be like a multiple choice type click thing or like a scroll down menu where I can select.
Gotcha. Go ahead and click on that. Cool. Tell me about what you're seeing here.
So I guess it's organized in what I was saying before, like beginner, intermediate, advanced. I see all the beginner, and I like that I can search events.
Internet connection. Oh no.
Isn't it first?
We'll give it a
No,
sec.
He'll be back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, his screen is moving, so maybe it's just the
Mm-hmm.
webcam.
Yeah, maybe.
Am I lagging?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
Tim.
Oh, you're
Okay,
back
you're back.
now. Okay.
Tim!
Am I lagging
Okay.
for you?
Yeah, you're fine now.
Oh, I'm fine now. Okay. Cool. Go back like 10 seconds.
Okay. What did you miss?
You
So
said you see
it's,
you were about to
organized by
say how it's
level.
organized.
Yeah, beginners.
Oh, yeah. So I like the search bar. Like I know how it's organized. So if I want to skip all the beginners and just go to advanced, I know where to scroll to them.
Gotcha. So, yeah, how would you go about finding your event?
Since there are not that many, I'd probably just scroll. I think scrolling is like
Oh. I'm gonna just turn off maybe my video. Tim, I'm gonna turn off my video. Maybe that'll help the internet connection.
Okay.
Cool. So you said you would probably just scroll through the list? That's where we left off.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. We're actually, in this case, doesn't have the whole list here. So I'm gonna actually make you search for something. If you were to search for something, what would you type in?
Okay. They're kind of lagging right now.
Maybe you can ask again.
Sorry, did you catch my question?
No, you lagged, so.
Okay. My question was, so you actually, not all the events are in the list here. So I'm actually gonna have you search for something. What would you search for?
Okay. I would probably search male Tangchuan.
Okay. Cool. Go ahead and actually just click on the search field.
Oh, well, what do you know? It already knows.
Cool. So yeah,
Artificial
I
intelligence.
put in advanced male, but you had said male Tangchuan. What would you do next?
I would probably, I mean, if I wanted to compete in multiple, I would probably click on all the events that applied that I wanted to register for. In which case, there are 2 that I can see in this list.
Which 2?
Advanced Male Tangchuan, which is the first one, and Advanced Male Straight Sword, which is the 4th one.
Gotcha. And what would you see? What would you expect to see after you click those events?
Well, there's no next button, so I'm not sure what would happen. I guess it would just go in queue. I don't know what else it would ask me for besides going to like a complete registration page. I think that would be the next step, like payment information, things like that.
Gotcha. Go ahead and select the first event. Cool. And go ahead and also select male straight sword, since that is the one that you wanted.
Okay.
Amazing. I know you so well. Cool. And tell me about what you're seeing here.
Well, I see that I can click done and probably will be taken into another page. So I would probably just click on done because the other events don't interest me.
Gotcha. What would you expect to happen if you click the back button?
On add events?
Mm-hmm.
Probably go back to what was the page before add events? Like my information page?
Mm-hmm. And what would you do if you what would you do if you wanted to now find something that wasn't advanced mail or something else that's not in this list?
Well, I would assume that the things in queue are kind of like a checkout cart, so I would assume they'd stay in there and keep being checked. So I would just go into the search bar and search for something else.
Gotcha. And how comfortable are you feeling at this point?
Pretty comfortable. It's very straightforward.
Cool. Go ahead and move on to the next step.
So I'll click done.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay. I'm gonna register.
Cool. Tell me about what you're seeing here.
So I went back to the original page I was on. My events are now added. I can go and add events, some more events if I felt like it. Or I can click next, which I assume would take me to payments page.
Payments page, you said?
Yeah.
Cool. What would you expect to see on a payments page?
Like your general, credit card information, billing address. I think a lot of times we accept checks or like paying cash on site for a lot of events, so that could be an option.
Mm-hmm.
PayPal is also an option. PayPal button would be nice. I know in the past there's the group that hosts university games has a PayPal account, but they don't have a PayPal button. So we just get an email afterwards saying like, we can pay PayPal at this account, which is kind of sketchy. I would prefer the official PayPal button.
From this flow?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, option.
Gotcha. What would you expect to see if you clicked add events again?
The same thing that I saw previously. So a list I can search, and probably my events that I've already added are already checked, so I can double add it if I forgot.
Gotcha. Cool. So go ahead and click next. And tell me about what you're seeing here.
So it seems like all the information that was just on the previous page and the added, it's but in like a summary format, and it does show me my total payment amount, which is really nice. I didn't have to do any math; it just told me how much I have to pay, which looks correct.
Gotcha.
And there's payment information. Payment due to Columbia Wushu team on day of competition by check or cash. Cool.
Cool.
So I
how
guess
do you
I
feel?
don't have to pay online.
Cool. Yeah, how do you feel about that?
It's nice to not have to pay until the last day, I guess. I think the process is more legitimized if there is a payment, like an online payment option, but I guess like for collegiate competitions, it's sometimes not like an actual choice.
Gotcha. Cool. And is there anything that anything missing from this page, or anything else you would have expected to see?
I don't think so. I think it feels like I'm trying to think because the pages that I usually go through are a lot more convoluted. I'm like, there seem to be missing steps. I think just because they're unnecessarily long. I don't think there's any missing information that I can think of on this page.
Gotcha. Cool. And are you, at this point, are you ready to move on to the next step?
Yeah, I would probably, well, I think I would be more comfortable actually if there's like a blurb that says like, if you want to change your events, you can do this X and X by X date, or that you can do it and gives information. Because I guess I would be wary, like maybe I don't want to do straight sword. And if I click submit, I don't know whether I can change it or not. Like it's not explicit.
Gotcha. Cool. And anything else before you're ready to submit?
No, I think that's it.
Cool. Go ahead and move on.
Nice.
Cool. So what do you think just happened?
I guess I am now in like the list of competitors, and my events are in there as well.
Gotcha.
And I have successfully registered.
Cool. What do you think it means to be officially registered?
Versus unofficially, I'm not sure. Yeah, I would think officially registered entails that I've also paid, which I haven't.
Gotcha. Cool. And what would you want to do at this point?
I would probably click on go to my competitions just as a reflex. It's right there.
What would you expect to see there?
Probably the current competition that I just registered for, and past competitions that I've registered for. I'd envision just like a list of them, and then like I can click on enter them, and I can see like what competitions I've registered in the past and events.
Gotcha. What would you do if you wanted to make a change to something in your registration?
I would probably go to my competitions, and that's where I assume.
And what would you do from there? Or what would you expect to be able to do from there?
It could probably say like edit my events, and I could probably X out. It'd actually probably be very similar to the page I was on previously that had my basic information and my events. And then I could probably just go in there and click. There'd probably be an X on events, on the events I already have registered that I can exit, and then I could add new events, and then the price would probably change accordingly. And it'd probably notify me. Like if I took out straight sword, it'd probably be like, there'd probably be a confirmation page and say like, confirm that you want to drop straight sword, and now that your registration payment amount is $60.
Gotcha. What sort of notifications would you expect to receive throughout this process?
You mean through the process I just went through, or like
just overall for competition, yeah.
I'd probably like an email that says you have now been registered, and any changes to my events. I think it'd be, I don't know how this would work, but I guess if everyone was already had a Kipup login, that maybe I'd get an email saying like, if I hadn't registered, for example, it would say like you have X amount of dates to register for this competition, or this is the last date to register for competition. I think I would enjoy notifications of when the roster and order is complete. A lot of competitions don't release that until the day of, but some competitions release them in advance. So that'd be cool. I don't know if this app would have the results of the competition, but if that happens and if those are posted, then I would also enjoy
Gotcha.
a notification from that.
Gotcha. What would you expect to, or what would you do if you found out you needed to drop out from a competition entirely?
I'd probably go to my competitions, and I would envision there'd be an option for that.
Gotcha. And can you tell me about a time where something like that happened, or you had to make changes to your registration for some reason?
Sure. I mean, Columbia hosted the collegiates in 2016. So yeah, we had first-hand experience of that. And it would probably be in emails. A few people did it on the day of, and I think that's pretty inconvenient. I think the inconvenience is that the registration system was separate from whatever the scoring platform is, so that we'd have to go into the scoring platform and manually take out people. And I think that's interesting because it kind of screws up the order that people expect to be in, and also the MCs when calling names. There have been instances, I don't think in our competition, because I think we're pretty good about knowing exactly who dropped out, but in some cases, some people would not tell people that they dropped out. I've had friends who just were like, I'm not going to do it, and they didn't really say anything. So they would call the person's name, and I think the Wushu community is small, so it's okay because, the judges know people and they're like, oh, that's not, like, if Dominic, for example, he didn't do his competition and he didn't tell anybody, they would call Dominic's name and then the judges would be like, oh, then this person is not Dominic. But I can envision like collegiates where there are a lot of, beginners or new faces to the group, that you would call someone's name and they wouldn't show up, and then the person who was supposed to be behind them, who is now going, is kind of confused. It's their first competition, so they're going to go up anyways, and now the scoring system is mismatched with who is who.
Gotcha. And for what reason do competitors drop out of events, or maybe if you've dropped out of events in the past?
I've dropped out of events. I think there are a number of reasons. I think when you first register, usually people will always over-register because it's harder to add events than drop events. And then you give yourself the motivation of, oh, I've already registered, so I have to practice for this. So there may be variations of reasons. Like I dropped staff at team trials because I wasn't ready for it. That was a case where I told them on the day of. I didn't email them. I was just like, oh, I'm dropping staff. So I think that's the main reason that you're not ready. Sometimes you may be injured in a specific way that you can't do one event but can do another. Like if you're doing Tai Chi and Tangchuan, maybe you can't do Tangchuan and Tai Chi. But those are the main reasons, I guess, for dropping an event versus registration.
Gotcha. Cool. Great. I have my questions here. So this is the last page of it. How is this process overall? How did you feel about the length?
I thought it was significant. Well, it felt at least significantly shorter than all other registration processes I've gone through. I think they're usually kind of, as I said, convoluted, and then like they go to weird places sometimes. It's not as streamlined and straightforward. And this one just felt very like obvious, ABC. Everything was very accessible, and then it took no time, especially because there's no payment. So it's easy peasy.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. And if you were the one building this product, what changes would you make?
I think, as I said before, I would probably add some blurbs. Like at the beginning, I'd probably maybe add a blurb saying like, what is, collegiates, or like maybe like a, if like the hosts wanted to say something or make a special note, maybe that there would be something there. I think there would be, I guess I would have instructions to the end page saying like, or at least like a reassurance that like you can drop events, just go to my competitions, etc.
Gotcha. Cool. Awesome. That's about it. Let me just turn on my video if you want to stop your screen share. So you can just like see us again. Cool. Yep, that wraps it up. Thanks for your time, Tim. And
yeah, thank you for having me.
Great. We'll see you later.
Okay.
Awesome. Thanks, Tim.
Woo.
Whoa, that's intense.
Yeah, what'd you think? Have you done a lot of this before?
No, actually, no.
Cool.
So, no, I really like the flow, how you keep it positive, and always asking, yeah, but if you are in this position, what would you do? And here, just stop. Okay, what do you want to click? What do you think? Like very open questions.
Yeah.
You know, to the users.
Yeah.
No, that was good. That was good.
Cool. And I saw in the chats that people are commenting on your trolling because you're screen sharing your notes, right?
Yeah, so there are some
I caught
quotes
it, don't worry.
that
You didn't get away with it. Oh, no, but you're like writing other stuff. Like I saw something about Adobe socks in there.
Yeah.
I glanced over.
So, yeah,
Cool, but I'm sure they're good notes.
some of them are true. Yeah. So like I'm really quoting Tim, and sometimes no, I'm not quoting Tim. It's something else, but.
Cool, no problem. Great, yeah. So, I just wanted to give everyone a taste of what a user interview would look like.
It was awesome. Yeah.
And see someone using a Adobe XD generated prototype live.
Yeah. So he was using his phone.
Yeah. So the setup was actually really interesting. We tested this out a couple days ago, so just to make sure everything was really smooth, and it was. That was so smooth, smoothest. Phone and video conferencing ever. But yeah, so I use this software called Zoom. Yeah. It's free if you want to use it. And I just have a personal account with it. You can see it says free account here.
The computer is crying because it's
the conversion.
A recording. Yeah,
yeah, so I use Zoom, and I sent the link to that Zoom room, if you will. It's like my personal room. I sent that to Tim, and what he had done is he connected his iPhone with a cable into his laptop. So the laptop was showing his face, and then with the cable connected to his phone, there's an option in Zoom to say
in Zoom directly
to say screen share iPhone, iPad via cable.
Wow.
And
that's awesome.
And so that way we can both see his face as well as the phone. Because I thought it was really important that he actually pulled up the prototype on his phone and actually
was
clicked
great
through it.
Because you could see like in real time what he was seeing also.
Exactly.
Because sometimes he was scrolling and then, like the search field was not on the screen anymore.
Yep.
And you were saying, okay, what do you want to do now? Like,
yeah.
And you could feel like he was
yeah, totally.
It's a bit lost.
Other pros of doing Zoom, I use it a lot for work as well. They have a feature where you can record the meeting directly from Zoom, and it saves it to my computer. So that way it's all in there. It saves like the people's faces, so it saves all the panels that are going on in Zoom. It's super, super great.
And Dre is saying, maybe this is a feature that we could add directly in XD. When you share a prototype to start a video conference.
Yeah, maybe.
Or maybe an integration with Zoom.
Something like that. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah, awesome. And thanks for watching, everyone. I think it was really fascinating to see you conducting this interview, getting feedback, and really taking your time to go step by step.
Yeah.
Look at the transcript of it.
Yeah, I hope everyone got a lot more context on what Wushu competitions are. I saw someone did ask what's the product that we're working on, or what is Kipup itself. So just for people who hadn't tuned in yesterday and the day before, Kipup is a competition scoring software where organizers will set up their competition. So you can see there's the events. So these would be the events that that Tim would be looking at in that registration flow. An organizer will come in here and add all the events. And then you can see who are the people that are registered for that event. So So what would happen in this case is, let's say Tim registered for this event, he would now, live show up in the app. Or if he dropped an event, that's a thing that he talked a lot about, where people will drop events on the fly. So now we want to maybe give that power to the competitor, say like, hey, competitor, let's be responsible. You can now go ahead and drop the event directly, and that way we'll make sure that it'll be updated in the judging system, which is part of the same app. And we have less of this like emailing back and forth with the organizers and multiple systems. We want to keep everything together. Also, just for a quick overview, this is the judging portion. It's all part of the same application, and we're working over the last couple of days to add a registration flow for competitors to register to be in the system. So that's what Kipup is.
Yeah.
And it's for Wushu, which is Chinese martial arts. Yesterday we actually played a video of what it is, but if you just if you just search for YouTube videos, I'm sure you'll find a lot of videos about what Wushu looks like. So
cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, and stay active in the chat, okay, for the next 2-3 minutes. Ask questions, say hi, let us know where you're from. We will give away the Adobe XD socks and also the Adobe XD notebook to someone who has been active in the chat. Okay, so this is coming very soon. And so what would be the next step now? Like you have
so typically what I would do, especially at Pivotal, is we might schedule a bunch of interviews in one day. That generally works pretty well because we want to then synthesize all of that feedback together. So it's good to knock it out one day. Maybe we'll fit in around like 4 interviews. I generally find that 4 is a good enough number to get a lot of good feedback on, especially in the early phases. Since we're testing more user flows and user interactions and less like visual styles or like little details about branding or anything like that, we're learning a lot of things. So usually I find that after like 4 or 5 people, they start to say a lot of the same things. And there's a lot of changes, or like the things that are the most problematic or the most painful, those will definitely surface themselves. So I'd spend a day doing 4 user interviews, typically around like an hour each. And if I'm facilitating, I would have my script, and Michael, who would be my co-facilitator, would be in the room with me taking notes. Typically, we don't take notes in this format where you're typing it down as a transcript. But we would actually be taking the notes on sticky notes. So you have a pad of stickies, and you want to capture sort of one quote or one thought per sticky. And then with those sticky notes, we have one color per person, and then we then take those. Let's say we have 4 colors, 4 stacks of sticky notes. We go and on a huge whiteboard, we'll put them up. Oh man, maybe I'll just pull up a picture of what I'm talking about. Okay. So there's like a visual.
We have a lot of good feedback. They really enjoyed the interview.
Awesome.
Thanks again for
I'm glad. It was fun. I was thinking this morning, like, doing a live stream user interview is so, it makes me feel so vulnerable, because it's like, first of all, my question asking skills are on display, but also like, is the design actually working? There are a lot of high stakes going on, but everyone on the live stream is super supportive.
Every time you ask, like, okay, so if you click here, like, what do you expect on the next screen? And if the user is expecting something completely different, you're like, oh crap. Yeah,
there's a lot of like nuances to how you ask questions, and if you notice, there are times when Tim would say he expected something completely different. There's no need for you to go say like, okay, well, it's not going to be that. Let's just see what it is. You don't need to say that. You just kind of like roll with it. You're like, you want to keep it really neutral and say like, okay, what about, and then you just go into the next question. So if you switch to my screen, this is sort of an example of what affinity mapping looks like. So you have one color per person, and what you do is you start to group together similar ideas. So in this particular case, I might kind of lay out a structure to say like, here are, we're gonna put all the persona questions. So those questions at the beginning where I was saying, how many competitions have you done, things like that. Those will be together. And then I might want to give this a little bit of structure, might say like, okay, here we're gonna kind of put all the thoughts around the information page. Here we're gonna put all the thoughts around the event page or some event selections page. And then within those, start to group together similar thoughts. So let's say Tim was saying something about, since this list is not really long, I would just scroll this list. I wouldn't actually search. So that's an interesting data point for us.
Yeah.
And let's say another user had said something similar, we would group those together. Versus, let's say of the 4 interviews, all three of the 4 users said, I would just scroll. This list isn't really long. It's easy to scroll on my phone. That's cool. And we would group those all together. And then maybe one person said, I would definitely search. I don't want to scroll through this, or like something like that. We would put that separately, and we would capture those ideas so we can say like, okay, now really quickly I can visually see that most people would just scroll, and fewer people would actually do the search. So that's why we use the different colors. It really helps you stay unbiased when you do your interviews, because I know I'm definitely a victim of this, where I do a user interview and I'm like, oh man, that was great. Like, users responded really well to this one thing, like it's great. But then like when you actually get in there and start putting up the stickies, you really see like, I just remember in my mind like the one user who like spoke really excitedly about that thing, and I'm like, as a designer who designed it, I'm like, yes, tell me all those good things. But in reality, maybe other people weren't as into it.
Excited,
So it's really a good way to not like overweight the person who like talks more, and sort of look at it evenly across all the people.
The red person, like. About, like, the person on the red sticker.
Totally.
Talk too much. We have a winner for the XD.
Awesome, let's do it.
Notebook, if you want to announce the name.
Super cute sticky, whoever writes this.
He hates gas now.
Yeah.
He's a lettering artist now.
It's very cute. Cool, so
we'll
announce the winner. Our winner today is Tiana Burt.
Yeah, Tiana, congratulations. She's from Roseburg in Oregon. Watching
nice.
us, she's a graphic designer, photographer.
Oh, we're looking at her Behance page.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, nice.
Congratulations,
Very
Tiana.
cool.
You will receive
awesome
these
stuff.
goodies.
I love that bison, or buffalo.
Yeah, that's
really cool.
That's our profile. Look at that.
Nice.
Awesome. Yeah, so you will receive a private message, okay? Check your messages on Behance. For the other one, stay tuned. We will do more giveaways during the next shows. It's just the beginning of the day, and we will also review some entries of the contest very soon. You have about 22 minutes to submit your entry. The theme of the day is gaming, trivia game, moral experience. All the rules are in the challenge tab, and we will review some entries very soon.
I'm super excited to see the trivia entries. Ali was saying that they're super interesting, so I'm really excited to see them. I feel like there's so many different ways to do trivia.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
It could be a trivia, but...
Especially that...
I can open a few if you want, and we can review just a few of them. So
for some inspiration,
to get inspired by the quote. So we have Botany Trivia.
Botany.
Let's start with this one.
Cool.
Welcome. Oh, so there is apparently
a
call to action to use the camera. Enter your name. Okay.
My name is Princeton. Cool.
Easy, medium, difficult. It's a trivia, so you want to choose the level. Let's say
difficult.
And spin.
Oh, so cute.
Mushroom, level 1. Okay.
Oh, I like that. Mushroom is commonly known among
English speakers as head of the wood.
Oh my goodness.
As head of ship's head.
I'm so bad at trivia.
Griffle. Okay, let's speak.
Looks like
A.
Yeah, let's do it.
Speak A.
Correct.
Yay!
Nice.
Maybe it says correct all the time. I don't know. Let's play again.
I think it's gonna be
Mushroom.
the same.
Okay,
cool.
let's speak B.
Oh,
I was correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. We're so good at mushroom trivia.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's very nice.
I like the.
I like the spinning wheel. Yeah.
It's a nice touch.
Like you have to click, but we understand what's going on, so it's very good. Yeah. Eli. Oh, look at this crazy illustration.
Someone does illustration. Welcome to the lovely historic city of LA.
Oh yeah,
I've
I've seen this before. Yeah. I think
Wow.
We have a very talented illustrator, like with screens, and actually, yeah.
Cool.
Blah, 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 blah.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Where is this?
Got it.
Well done. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, let's try to understand where I click. Okay, I click on next. I get it. I go here. And now where should I click? This is where I'm lost. Oh no, I'm lost. Okay, let me go back. Let's try this one. Oh, okay, so you have a story.
Oh,
and
there
then
you go.
Everyone was Oliver Cromley living in daylight. Oh, I think it was there. Yeah.
Oh.
Boom.
Did you actually know that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, but it was the only date in the 17th century. All the other ones were from the 20th century. So.
Nice. I wouldn't even know that.
And we have Kilian O'Gorman sharing on Behance, which is nice. Okay, so play correct, not correct. Correct.
Correct.
Not carrot. Correct.
What is Harry's second name? A
A
Potter.
Potter. 100%. See the prototype. Oh, you see? There.
Can we see it?
That's the game. You need to find a link.
Oh.
Just okay, so
Good catch.
let's go there. And actually, who is our friend? Kilian, I will show you a trick right after. Okay, so you can play. Correct.
Whoa.
Ooh, okay.
So exciting.
So, very exciting. So, Kilian, I think I will show you something, Kilian, that maybe you don't know, is that when you publish your project here in Adobe XD, what you can also do is, say, copy the embed code, and you can paste the code in Behance. So you can have actually this running prototype directly in your Behance project. So this is something you can try.
Nice. That's cool.
We have VDLD designers, continue. Okay, let's go. Fitness and health, true or false?
Start. Men and women should have the same bodybuilding routine.
Ah, okay.
Answers?
True, false, true, false. Ah, okay. Nutritions. Okay, so you have the, I see what you did. Restart. Yeah, so maybe you can try to create an experience where we directly click to say true or false directly on the screen. Because here I have to memorize the progressions, I have to memorize the
I want to know though, are they supposed to? They can have the same bodybuilding routine. Look at that.
Awesome.
Nice.
Good to know. And here, okay, and there is one by Ryan. I need to see the notes. I hope I won't miss them. I will check later. Stage 1, start. Kelsey Grammer plays Cosmo Kramer on the TV show Seinfeld. True or false? I don't know. Let's say it's true.
I'm so bad at pop culture.
Complete the title of the famous novel by Umberto Eco, The Name of the Rose. Ah.
Nice.
Time's up. 10%. Yeah, it's not very good. But nice, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
That works. That works very well. Is it the one by... because there is one with notes. Okay, it's not this one. But I will find it, Ryan. I will find it. Okay, keep sharing. You still have 17 minutes to share your entries, and we will review all the entries at the end. And we'll ask Jackie, which one do you want to reward? And you can get a chance to win a Crave Code subscription. So it's like it's a big prize.
Awesome.
Okay, so what do you want to do now?
Great. So what we'll want to do now, so after we usually do our synthesis, we'll, as a team, we'll want to do this like with either, with probably everyone who is in the room. Maybe you even have multiple note takers. And then we then get together, we're doing our huge affinity mapping, and from there we can kind of start to circle like, okay, users were really unhappy about this part, users were really unhappy about this part, and from there, we want to generate action items. Sometimes those action items are really specific. They're like, oh, this icon was wrong, let's change it to this. Like, I might know exactly what I want to do, but sometimes they might be more open-ended, so they might be like, explore other ways to do the scroll list or something like that, or event selection or something like that. So if we look at the notes that Michael just took, I'm trying to think what are some action items we want to create from here.
So he mentioned several times the blurb on the first screen.
Yes, you mentioned seeing more information.
Yeah, especially for beginners.
That was a good point.
Then after, for the first screen, otherwise he was happy. He was mentioning Facebook a lot of time, you know, like Facebook events.
That I mentioned that on the first day, so it was like I fed him that information to say that.
That was good.
Because I was saying on the first day that typically people are getting to the beginning of this prototype from like a different page, like let's say it's the a Facebook event page for the competition or the competition's website. So they would already find a lot of the information there. But he did say that he would still have expected to see information about like the date and time in the registration link as well. So that was cool.
And then he was confused.
Oh,
you know?
the login stuff.
Yeah.
He was really confused about
confused.
this. Yeah, so for people that are tuning in today, we were looking at Eventbrite's. And so we've tried to follow a lot of the same patterns where Eventbrite is a site where you can view information about events. But then there's also this concept of having an account with Eventbrite. So,
and Omar is asking, can I get the questions asked during the customer interview?
Oh, the list of questions? Yeah, I can.
Something
I don't know what's the best way to share that.
So maybe if you share it with us, we can add it to the YouTube description.
Okay,
after.
yeah, I can do that.
We can do that. Okay, so if you come back and watch your replay, that will be
I'm happy to
tomorrow.
share.
We can update the descriptions maybe tomorrow or next week and add these questions.
Yeah.
Could be
cool.
Be useful for them.
Yeah, I think also just like all of this stuff, like you can just totally reuse this as just like a boilerplate for user interviews.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. So.
Yeah, of course, happy to. Nothing about this is like secret. What was I saying? Oh yes, Eventbrite. So Eventbrite has this, you can buy tickets for an event, but you can also have an Eventbrite account. So we were looking at this flow when you check out, where I'm just gonna change my screen size and show you what it looks like on a mobile view. So hopping into the inspector and turning on this little device icon. Oh, this is what I was talking about the other day, where sometimes when you do this with Chrome, it like freaks out and doesn't know what's going on.
So what do you do?
So I was saying last time that you can refresh and that it will actually fix itself, but I think it doesn't in this particular view. So you actually have to go back to, if I click on an entirely new link, it'll fix it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
Cool. It's not that the website will actually look bad on your phone. I'm sure Eventbrite has their stuff together. Cool. So clicking on this link, we're following a lot of the same UI patterns where you see use Eventbrite before, sign in for fast and easy ordering. This is interesting because Tim had was sort of confused about if like, do I need an account to register, or do I need to create an account to register?
He was saying that he assumes that you cannot register without an account.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
but so the way that Eventbrite actually does it is you don't have to have an Eventbrite account. So I think it might be an interesting case for us where do we as Kipup, do we want to make everyone have an account? Or do we want to allow users to register without, kind of check out as a guest, if you will. So that might be interesting for us to visit. I think my first instinct is to say, like, from a business perspective, it makes the most sense for us to make users create an account, just because it's pretty lightweight to do sort of account creation stuff. All you need is like email address and password, and so that seems like a light enough user experience that we can get users to create an account, let's say with the first time they ever register an event, maybe at the end or at the beginning, say like, great, you've registered an event, now add a password for your account to complete your registration or something like that to prompt people, like maybe at the end
also because,
to create their account.
And you want to send them notifications by email? Like, you need their email.
Yeah,
anyway,
we'll need their email regardless, because that's like the primary way organizers reach out to competitors. But yeah, it'll be really, I'm imagining it could be something really similar to like an e-commerce checkout flow where
Yeah, that's
you
what
like
Brandon said.
go for your whole.
You can have account creation also happen with guest checkout.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
good. Yeah.
So I was thinking that it's interesting what you'll see here, even though I kind of followed the same pattern where you have like, okay, you could fill out this information, but before you do that, have you used it before? Sign in. But all I said was have a Kipup account, sign in. And that can be a little bit unclear if you're not familiar with Kipup as a product. So I really liked how Eventbrite doesn't call it like, do you have an Eventbrite account? They just said, have you used Eventbrite before? I think that conveys a slightly different meaning that might make it more clear. Like I could say, have you registered for a competition on Kipup before? Sign in to for fast meeting ordering, or sign in to fill in your information automatically, or something to give a little bit more information on, hey user, this is what's going to happen when you sign in. Because he was really confused after he signed in. He thought he was going to go back to this page, which was not at all the case.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
So power of user testing, we learned so much from this. So that's one thing to look at. I'm just gonna jot these action items down.
Yeah.
I'll do it actually on. I'll just do it at the bottom of this document here, just so everyone can see. So action items, we want to revisit. Okay, I'll do something like this.
You could add notes to the prototype too.
Oh, to the prototype. Yeah, that's true.
So even here, even in XD, so that's what the team is doing. We add notes.
Yeah, let's do that.
We add notes outside, so you can add text outside the AdWords here. Just add if you go back to the design view.
If I just like a text field.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Yeah, let's do that. So let's say we want to visit. I'm actually gonna let's do that. That's a good idea. I'll do it in here. I was gonna say I typically like to keep action item lists in one place, as opposed to saying like on this screen do this, on this screen do that. That way I can have like a an order of priority and like reorder it in the same list. So the first thing we were talking about is seeing more information about an event is something we want to explore.
Here we go.
And the other thing we were talking about is maybe like try rewording sign in / have an account. There's also the larger question of how might a user create an account with Kipup for the first time within the registration flow. Yeah, that's totally want to explore that. Cool. Let's look at our notes. What else came up? These are really good action items so far.
So about the affiliation, he said that, like you were saying, I just affiliate to one school and stick to it. Like,
he said he had. So he was saying that in this case, it made sense to say yes. My affiliation is Columbia University, but he also mentioned he participates in this competition called Trials. In that case, since that's for reference, Team Trials is a competition where you basically compete to be on the U.S. national team and represent the U.S. on an international level at other countries. So in that case, you typically wouldn't put something like your university. Most competitors at that level practice with a particular Wushu school. So in his case, his school is called Ome. So he kind of like flips between those two options. We didn't really explore what that affiliation drop-down experience looks like, and I noticed that I asked a little bit of a leading question. I said like, what happens if you like click on this drop-down? So maybe in the future we'll want to make sure users even recognize that as a drop-down.
It's a drop-down.
I catch myself asking not so great questions, but maybe we can explore something around. Maybe we put his past affiliations near the top, and then like you could see everything else maybe at the bottom. we're also going to need to explore affiliations. Explore showing past selected affiliations. Like what happens if you can't see your affiliation in the list. Now, thinking about that out loud, it actually might be more of a heavy experience than I initially imagined in a dropdown, because that list of affiliations is actually going to get really, really large. So dropdown actually might not be the greatest. If we look at how that currently looks like in Kipup. So here, switching back to the app itself, which is, I'm running locally on my machine, so unfortunately no one can look at this besides me right now. But here, when you create a competitor, there's this interaction where we show in a drop-down all affiliations that competitors have so far registered for, and then also the ability to say, like, I want to add like a different affiliation. So we probably want to follow something similar to that, but not exactly sure yet how that will play on a mobile, since it's like a much smaller space. So maybe we can look at, maybe it's not going to be today, but in the future we'll look at where someone else does like a similar kind of pattern on like a mobile app or in a small space.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool. And I'm starting to think also, we don't need to show you just your past affiliations. I think for the most part, it's like 1, maybe 2 affiliations. So to me, it seems okay if we just populate it with maybe the last used, and then if Tim does want to switch to Ome, go ahead and just scroll or search the list somehow.
Awesome.
Cool. It's all about prioritizing what's gonna have the most user value, or what can we build faster.
And I see Jeremiah in the chat asking off the topic about the UI. To be cool to have a search feature also in the Behance live chat.
Searching the chat. That's cool.
So again, I would conduct some user interviews, Jeremiah, to understand why you would need to search something in the chat.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is that we will be back next month. I think the week of February 13th with UX designers here.
Nice.
And one of the UX designers is actually a designer of Behance.
Cool.
And they use XD.
Yeah.
So maybe we can ask her, Jeremiah.
Nice.
And we would see in XD how she would prototype a search engine in the chat.
Yeah.
She's one of the designer of the Behance experience.
Yeah.
Not only the live experience, but Behance in general. And they all use XD to validate the prototypes. So
nice. Yeah. Is there you can scroll
tricky.
through the chat though?
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can use the search engine, I would say.
I think
of the browser.
If you just use the browser, you could probably find stuff. If it's just like text search.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah. Nice.
But there
so you
is,
just search like
what's
Jackie in the chat, see how many times my name is mentioned.
We can send you the transcript also.
Yeah, I was asking Gus about it. I would love to see the transcript. Especially I saw people commenting about the prototype, giving feedback as I was running through it with Tim. I would love to see what people said, because
user interviews in the chat.
Yeah, kind of people helping me take notes in the chat. Cool. Great. Maybe so. I think there are a bunch more action items we could probably pull from this interview.
Yeah, I think he was very happy with the search, like, you know, how you select the events. He said something interesting, like, I expect to see everything by level. You know, like beginners and stuff.
Yeah, when he was describing it, I kind of thought he meant something where, like, he would click add event and then would say, like, what level? Beginner. What? Okay.
Like a tree.
Like what gender? Like a tree flow? But then when he got to this list, he said that or just a list.
Yeah, so, I think he was happy. So maybe something that you could investigate are, you know, sometimes when you have tags, because like if you identify that you will always have like beginners, advanced, male, female, you know, sometimes you have the search field and like labels or tags that you can activate or deactivate.
Yeah.
So I don't have to type
Yep.
beginner.
Totally.
I don't have to type advanced.
Yeah. I think that would be a really good interaction for us to explore in the future.
Something to explore.
Yeah, I think like for the most part, I would probably move ahead with this just to build. I mean, this is like the base case for anything.
And it worked.
And then we can add stuff on top of it later. Especially like for things are really well defined for a competition like collegiates where you have like multiple levels and like male, female. But for the other competition that Tim was talking about, trials, that list is much, much smaller.
Oh, okay.
So that in that case, scrolling is totally the easiest way to go.
And then at the end, he had a lot of questions about the payment.
Yes,
experience.
we talked about that payment. Yeah, I had mentioned on the first day that payment is a tricky subject for us on the Kipup team that we're exploring, just because there are a lot of sort of legal issues when you start dealing with money, especially around refunds, like who handles the refunds, all of that stuff. So I know there are a lot of like payment processors like Square or Stripe and PayPal that you can use, and they're all basically priced exactly the same way. So we'd probably go with something like Stripe or something that is maybe one of the more full-featured ones.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm thinking now like maybe that's a topic that we might reopen with, or I might reopen with my team to say like, hey, users are really expecting to be able to pay here.
And he said something interesting, like it would legitimize the registration.
That was a good quote.
To say, yeah, if I pay, I'm registered. Like there is no doubt.
And then also he picked up on this, like, oh, am I officially registered if I actually haven't even paid yet? Yeah, that was a really good point. So while we're talking out loud, I'm gonna add that to here. So maybe like payments. And then also he mentioned something about the officially registered, as well as information about telling the user that they will be able to make changes. Because currently that's totally not a thing. So he's coming from a paradigm where in all the other registration systems, it was a one and done. You register for something and you had to email organizers to make a change. But we want to actually have users come back here to do it. So we should probably inform them that that's something they can do.
Yeah, it's true. And he was expecting to see all the past events.
Yeah, oh yeah, that too.
Like for him, he said at some point, I expect this to be my platform.
Yes, totally. This is something I actually just dropped in here last night, because that's like, I was thinking, originally it was just kind of like this, like submit, thanks, that's it. And there wasn't any sort of next step for the user. So I was playing around this idea of, what if there's like a my competitions place where exactly how he said, it was like I incepted him, but a place to see, oh, this is the one I'm currently registered for, or this is the one that's upcoming, as well as past competitions. And that would also be sort of like a competition dashboard page where I could say like, oh, I actually want to make changes to that registration, or I want to drop out of that registration or that competition. That would all be on that page. And that would sort of be the experience for a user if they just like went to kipup.io and logged in. That would be sort of what they would see, a my competitions page. And he understood that term exactly, because I wasn't sure, like, do I call it like competition dashboard or something fancy?
Dashboard.
But yeah, it was really neat that he responded well to that, or knew exactly what I meant by that. And cool.
On the positive side, he really said many times that it felt shorter than other process workflows he used in the past. So, but he was looking for like there was no information missing. So it went straight to the point. He said like it's a ABC experience, like next. So I think this is something that you should keep in mind if you add features, because he was really amazed by this.
How fast that was. Yeah. Cool.
And time's up for the entries. Okay, I hope you submitted all these entries for the show. If you didn't have time, they will be reviewed in the next show, but they should have sent all their gaming prototypes trivia game today. That's the challenge. You can still enter and submit your answer during the next show. We will be with someone from the experience design team, actually, someone working for Adobe. So it will be the opportunity to ask questions about XD and design in general at Adobe. And also we'll be with Michael Crabtree at the end of the day. So you have still a lot of time to submit your prototype.
Cool. Sweet. So maybe we can just dive into one of these. How much time do we have to work on
If
stuff?
you want to work, you have like a big 10 minutes.
If I want to work. Yeah, I would love to. Which one should we go with? Seeing more information.
Yeah, that's the blurb.
Yeah, these are all like very relatively light or straightforward changes
fine.
just to add for more information, much like how they do it here where it's like there's description.
Description.
Yeah, I also was thinking last night that I really like the icons that have come in here. Oh, some things that I noticed in working on this prototype yesterday, with a thing that I noticed, I know we had used the dropper tool sort of in this like split screen view because I had the app open over here and I was trying to pull this color. Unfortunately, actually, is slightly off. So
I see what you mean. Slightly
if you
saturated.
so I used this color tool and I selected it from here. So you'll see that it's actually if I zoom in here,
a bit, actually.
it's actually a little bit darker. You can see the hex code's like slightly different.
Oh yeah. Interesting.
I was like, doesn't look exactly right. And that was why, because I had picked it from the color picker. So what I went ahead and actually did is keeping keeping the app open, I just opened up the developer tools.
Okay.
This is a little crazy because I have it on a phone view, which it's totally not meant for. But if I right click and click inspect, I look for the div where that color is being called. So in this case, I believe it is header primary. And here I see the background color right there. And I just copied and pasted that into the fill right here. So I just did that. I also, some of my colors are done in RGB. So I also, for those ones, I just switched it using this drop down here and typed in those 3 numbers.
Which is new, by the way.
Yeah, it is new.
Yeah, it's new since
in
Tuesday
the latest
we had
update.
an update. Yeah.
Super awesome. So yeah, that's just a quick note for people who are watching me use the eyedropper tool from something else. It's not exactly correct. So.
Petula is asking, would it be better to stick to hexadecimal colors to keep track? Yeah, I guess it's really also a conversation you will have with the designer. You know, like sometimes you will receive the brand, maybe the brand guidelines or the design guidelines in RGB, and you just switch to RGB, and you know that at least you have the right reference for the color.
Yeah,
but
I use like sometimes I'll use like a hex to RGB site like all the time, just to. Sometimes you want. Sometimes it's nice to, if you use like do any like CSS manipulation of colors, you need like RGB to do that.
Oh yeah, it's true.
Or if you're using RGB
filters,
for opacity of a background, you can't do that with a hex. You would there's like the 4 the RGB and then the opacity is the last one.
Can you try something?
Yeah.
If you select the prototype, instead of doing publish prototype, can you do a publish the design specs? So it's
not this.
Yeah, it's the
in
last
here.
one. Yeah, publish the design specs.
Cool. Let's try it.
Create a public link at the bottom. So this is an experience to communicate with, I would say, the web developers, maybe in this case.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder. Oh, guess what's happening?
What's happening?
This is uploading our gigantic picture.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Oh. Good point.
Yeah, you can open the link.
Cool. Let's do
Thanks. Awesome. So this is when you share it with developers or other designers, actually. So you recognize all the prototypes, but here you're in the browser. And if you come here, and you have the references already on the right, because it will detect what
content.
you want.
Oh, cool. I like that. Quick copy.
Yeah, you have the
opacity. Yeah.
Also the typeface. if you click outside the artboard, it will create a summary on the right, you know, like click here. Yeah, like all the typeface, all the styles you use and the colors at the top. And if you select the blue, yeah, so it's a quick way to make sure that you are using the same blue everywhere on the screen. You would have like two blue references, like, oh crap,
that's a good
I
point.
still have the old one. Okay, so and here you can switch. Okay, this is what I wanted to see. Okay, so even also in the design specs, you can convert from Hexa to RGB.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, and then it copies it to the clipboard.
Yeah, and copies to the clipboard.
Look at that, boom. Cool. Yeah, and this is what I was talking about, like if you had background, okay, this is totally not a thing, but I'm just using this as a text space. If you had this in your CSS, you'll want to use RGBA instead of hex if you want to like drop this to like a lighter color or something.
To 80%.
As opposed to saying like opacity of the entire div, because that might not be what you want.
Awesome.
Cool. This is nifty.
Yeah, and this is in beta, so you can still provide feedback on this. We will add more and more features. There are some very nice ones, such as if you, let's say you want to get the distance between this and the header, so you can press Alt, I think. Yeah.
I think it showed it without, like.
Yeah, it showed it without, like it was smart, but otherwise, if you press Alt, I think it can show me the distance. You know,
cool.
Between this and this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of information to prepare the view.
Very cool.
And then to export the assets, so today you cannot do it in the browser. I think the team is working on it. Like this is something that should come. But, oops, sorry. But in the meantime, what you can do is you can select anything on the screen, like even this, like or this group. Yeah, let's pick this group for instance. And you can do Command E, and it will just export this button. So as a PNG, SVG.
Cool.
And you can say, I want to optimize this for iOS. And say, I designed it at 1x, 2x, or 3x, so it depends. So you choose when you start designing, and then it will export all the versions and scale them up or down, depending on how you designed. Same for Android, for all the screen densities.
Nice. Awesome. Super helpful.
Oh, and there is something new. Okay. Yeah, I saw something.
I love that Michael's just excited about new things
because I saw something. Okay, let me group this. I think that if I go to the layers, is that this? Yes. Okay.
Unmarked for batch export.
Ah, what is this? Okay, now I will take this. Make sure it's grouped.
Cool.
And I will mark it for batch export. So let's say like every day you export for the designers always the same elements, like the button, but you make changes.
Yeah.
And you don't want to go like one by one. Okay, I want to export this one, this one.
Oh, so it'll like
it will memorize it.
That's so cool.
And then you can do export my batch.
Yeah.
To PNG for design.
Nice.
On the desktop, let's say.
Yeah.
And now it should export these two elements.
Yeah, I can switch to the desktop. All right, got it.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Got it.
Oh, cool. Cool, and it kept the name of my group, which I didn't rename, but you should probably rename them if you're going to use something like that.
So that's new too, like it was introduced on Tuesday.
Wow, that's what a cool feature.
That's,
very neat.
Super useful. And it's saved, so if you open the project within 3 weeks, they are still flagged as batch export. So
very cool.
That's neat.
Oh, and the other thing that I did yesterday is I played around with making this as a symbol. So
you did
I had done that.
Oh,
I just have this
awesome.
one symbol, which you can now like put somewhere else, and like if I make changes to it,
will change
they'll all
everywhere,
which is really cool. And I also played around with this. So yesterday, if you saw in this
when
prototype,
we did the repeat grid.
Yeah. So I had actually felt like this was a little like too tight, a little bit. The height of each of these rows felt a little constrained.
Tight.
So I wanted to lighten it up a little bit. Also because it was doing a doing like a double line here, if you can see.
Yeah, because
on
of
the border, because
margin.
there's like each of them did a border. So here, I'm trying to remember
you just
what I changed
created
it
one
to.
line maybe.
No, what I actually did, it's because the border's on the inside. So that way it's like 1 pixel here and 1 pixel here. Because I was like, why is it so fat looking?
Interesting.
So by making it on the outside, it like only did one. So that's good.
That's a good trick.
Yeah. But it was really nifty. I could like change. I just went in. You could change any of them. You don't have to even do the first one that you're repeating it off of. You can go ahead and resize it, and they'll all resize together. Except you need to redrag the spacing between them, and that's how you can make them a little bit fatter. And they'll all move at the same time with this repeat grid. So I did that, and then I also like made some changes to this text file where I was thinking, okay, I actually want Tim to pick the 2 events, so I like reordered some of them and then resaved the file and then just like re-dragged it in. So we would smooth out our user interview. And he did. Yeah, that was so funny. He was like, oh, like looking at this list, I would probably want to pick. Actually, he was even looking at this list. He's like, oh, I want to do
advanced mail,
Tongren and straight sword.
That was so good.
It was so great. And I was like, oh, well. This is what you are going to be picking. There are no other choices. So that was really fun.
You want to review some entries?
Yeah, let's do it.
So today we invited you to share with us trivia gaming experience from mobile, and you have been very inspired. So we have this one, Head in the Cloud. Say, okay, I'm ready. Ready to play. Who I am. This is Paul Training.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I even recognize that. Nice.
Yeah, this is Paul Training.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Nice.
Got it. Okay, next.
Whoa.
Oh, this is Kathleen.
You're good at this game.
Is it Kathleen or Rufus? No, this is Kathleen. Yeah.
You should change the blur based on it. You should ask like, how long have you worked at Adobe? And
that's good.
and make it worse. 10 years? Too bad. It's super blurry.
Who is this?
This is really funny.
That's me. Oh no, he wants me to pick Rufus. Oh my god.
It's wrong. Come on. How would you not know?
Okay, then when you select it, we say selected, and I have some notes here from Ryan.
This was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, we had fun too, Ryan.
Good job.
Nice. Cool. The X over the face looks really
quiz.
scary, though.
Okay. So we cannot fail at this one. Adobe quiz. In which year Adobe was founded? Oh my god.
I don't. What?
December or January? You're like, come on, guys.
Do you know, Paul?
Let's say December. Yeah. Yeah, because the fiscal year starts in December, so maybe there is a reason. Oh. Where is the Adobe headquarters located?
I don't know. Is it in San Jose? I have no idea.
Yeah.
There you go.
When was the first Photoshop released? Oh my god. It's again December or September.
The month.
So
this
hard.
Is like really intense. But you knew it was that year?
Okay, let's do September. When was the first Adobe XD released?
Oh, you should know that, right? The first?
It depends, actually.
Yeah, like the...
because there was a project before. There was, let's say March. Yay!
Nice.
I think we won.
Yeah, 4 out of 4.
Awesome.
Can you click wrong ones in this prototype?
Yeah. Nice job. Try again. Okay, let's try again. Boom.
Oh,
boom.
there you go.
Yeah, so you can...
All of them are wrong.
All wrong. Oh, no. Nice job. They always say nice job. It's a very nice app.
Cool.
Okay, start trivia. Oh, I like this. Whoa. You need to choose at least 3 categories, okay?
Okay.
So we can speak sport, music,
Apparently
and
you pick
food.
sports, music, and food. Great.
Number of questions you want. Easy. 30 seconds. Ready? Let's start. Who won the FIFA World Cup in 2010?
This is the worst prompt for me because I'm so bad at trivia.
Usually it's always Germany. 2010. Yeah, let's pick Germany. They always won. Oh no. Who is the latest Jackie Chan movie? Foreigner. I know he wants us to give up, but we had the answer.
Give up.
Oh my god.
It's funny doing a trivia because doing a prototype for trivia because we want to show what it looks like to pick wrong things, but oh man.
It was Spain. Okay. And here we cannot give up. Oh no.
Nice.
But that's nice. Very nice prototype.
That's cute. I like this start trivia button.
Whoa. The Apo quiz. Apocalypse. Okay, it's like Apocalypse, but with a quiz. Yeah, okay.
Sign up.
Sign up. Quiz.
Okay.
Facebook.
you're ready
Okay.
to play.
Pick a category. Which one do you want?
Can I pick all of them? Oh, let's pick zombies. Great. Which one is a zombie?
Paul.
Heart.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm a zombie.
Amazing.
Okay, let's pick tornadoes. What's coming? Yeah, you call me.
Michael.
Call me. Yeah.
Do they all go to the same place?
I don't know.
What?
There is no. This category doesn't exist.
Oh, okay, there you
Oh,
go.
okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's nice.
Oh, look, there's me.
Oh,
Oh my
you
gosh,
were
that
playing.
picture is so old.
Now you're level 15,
I can set my own level. Nice.
and you can
Stats.
log out. See you again.
Thanks. Nice.
Nice.
Cool.
Awesome. And you remember? Oh, that's a new one. Open minds.
Bite-sized trivia. This is really pretty.
Geography,
I love
yeah.
these.
Okay, okay.
I love the
Takanai
color.
kanji are used in which country?
Oh, yeah,
Japan.
Japan.
Yeah. Wow, look. So playful.
Correct.
Which kind of nation lies between Sweden? Yeah. Oh no. We want more. About the Cold War. No,
People
it's too
made
hard.
so many screens for this one.
Yeah, look
Because
at
I guess
this.
it's like a trivia. So there's
Oh, animal. The panda's diet. Bamboo. Yeah.
nice. This one is so beautiful.
Yeah,
Good
it's
job.
beautiful. Awesome. And we have welcome to trivia. Okay, select the category again.
Lots
Movies.
of category selection.
Guess the movie name. Oh, it was this crazy dictator. What's her name? Oh my god.
Whatever, I don't care.
Denny? Oh, whatever, I don't care. Yeah, that's a good one. Good job. Wow, cool.
What is it? Your
Thanks.
visa is approved? What was that?
That's funny.
Oh, the Bonnie one. Whoa, they changed it.
Ooh, yeah, it's updated.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
iconography. Good job.
So cute.
And spin again. Mushroom.
Still mushrooms.
Still this answer.
Still correct.
Very nice with the background blur.
Yeah. They're really dope looking.
Good job.
I love
And we
those
just received
icons.
this one. Welcome back, Jackie. Start a
Excited
new
to be
game.
back.
We don't see Jackman caring for. What?
In what film do we see Hugh Jackman caring for an alien Patrick Stewart in the remote outpost near the Mexican border?
Logan. Yay. Okay. Yeah. Oh my god. Atomica. Oh.
Another chance, please.
That's good. Oh, the circle. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's nice.
Yeah, I like the
I like
intro
this
screen.
also. Yeah. So it's
Cool.
about movies. Awesome. We need to quickly choose one. We have 1 minute to choose
Oh,
one.
wait, 1 minute. Oh man, I feel like I'm between the botany one or the Adobe Blur. I think that's like a really fun. That's like a fun idea for like at a office or something, with like the pictures of the people.
Ah, like to guess the pictures of the people.
Yeah, I like that
Like
concept.
this one.
That's a fun concept.
So this concept, and there was the botany one, which has been refreshed.
Yeah.
During the
this one is
show.
also really nice looking, and I love this
Spinning
like
wheel,
spin
yeah.
thing.
So which one?
Let's go with the botany one. Let's do it.
Cool. Congratulations to the designer
Good
behind
job,
the
everyone.
botany
These
app.
are really fun.
Yeah. It was so good, yeah. I want to see more games now.
Yeah.
But we have 2 hours with Paul. And Ansley, yeah, thanks for joining, Ansley. She's working the experience design team at Adobe, so that's good. We will learn from the best. So, but Jackie, I really want to say thank you
Thank
for this
you.
awesome 3 days, and thanks for sharing this entire process.
Yeah.
From sketching, also showing how you can extend an existing app. We did the user interview, and it was awesome. It was great. And also thanks for sharing about the culture at Pivotal Labs. We learned a lot with the pairing. I mean, so it's really, yeah, super insightful. It was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah, cool. And yeah, make sure to follow her on Behance, although she doesn't do anything on Behance.
Yeah, you
And
probably
she
not
has
follow
very
me on
old
Behance.
pictures,
You should
but
probably
how
you
can
can follow
they
me.
keep in touch with you?
You can follow me on Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's do Twitter.
there's a lot of action on Twitter lately, so I'll try to post more things about what's happening. I've I'm speaking at like a thing on campus at Columbia in a couple weeks, so maybe some stuff about that. So yeah, speaking is an interest of mine also. So hopefully more to come from there. And also you can find me on Instagram. I think you could search for a name, but unfortunately my Instagram handle is slightly different than my
In the
Twitter.
YouTube descriptions, we put the right one,
Okay.
so they will find you.
Great, cool. Yeah, it's Oho Photo in case there's if you're looking for my Instagram. That's probably the most active social media platform.
Thanks, Jackie.
Of them.
Awesome. And stay tuned. We'll be back in a few minutes, okay, with Paul Train and Ansley. And thanks, everyone, for watching.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.